Welcome to episode 20 of Chats. Today we are doing a high note special.
Yay!
You let the music play.
Yay!
Yes, so obviously if you guys are even living right now, you know about the COVID-19 virus that's gone worldwide right now. It's not pretty for a lot of countries right now, and even those that don't have it that bad are still social distancing and self-isolating. So it's a good time to listen to our podcast.
That's right.
But especially if you listen to last week's episode where we talked about feeling down and stuff like that, we really need positive in our lives right now.
Yeah.
You need a little something to warm your hearts. I was going to say bellies, but that would be some mama's cooking. But
Better introduce ourselves.
Yes. Before I got ahead of myself, I'm Corbin.
And I'm Sarah.
Yes. So yeah, we have a high note special today.
We thought it was kind of like after last week. We don't want people to think that we're not taking this seriously, that obviously it's a very serious situation. But to put it in the context of if you focus on it for too long, if you get overwhelmed by it, it can be very dark and negative and harming. So what we want to try and do is maybe give you an example of some of the positive things that are going out, or maybe just a shift in perspective so that people can appreciate and understand how there could be, for some, advantages to this situation, or how to try and make a positive out of a negative. You know, and we've talked about this off air, that there's a lot of things that we can't control anymore.
No.
And I have a feeling it's probably going to continue in that way. So you've got one of two choices where you can let that kind of overwhelm you and become a constant in your day-to-day living. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to adapt. Instead of letting it take me out.
Overcome.
I'm going to adapt to this, and I'm going to find ways to find positivity in some form, because you, and I notice it myself, and we'll talk about this a little later, you can't inundate yourself with information. And I know the days where I've absorbed too much information and how you feel, but we thought 20 is a milestone.
Episode 20, the big 2-0.
Yeah, we would have done something maybe a little more celebratory under different circumstances.
Yeah. We'll save it for episode 50.
Okay. But for this purpose, we thought, well, maybe just a good news podcast, kind of like a positivity overload. And again, don't think for a minute we're not taking this seriously. If we're trying to crack jokes or, crack wise about it, then we're just trying
We're not, slandering the disease or the virus or anyone that's been affected
minimizing
by it.
Yeah. No, we're just trying to humor as a coping mechanism.
Of course,
right?
yes. And respect. We're not going to be disrespectful about anything. So it'll all be in good humor and fun.
So do you have anything that you want to? I have a little list here. I did my homework, so.
No, you have a list here. But one of the things that I was going to talk that kind of, because some of that stuff doesn't correlate with the virus, but the thing I think we should start off with is the humanity coming out in times of crisis or need. And over in Italy, I think we talked about this a little bit last week. They have probably the worst of it right now.
Yes.
Arguably.
Between Spain and Italy right now, after China, they're the ones that are seeing a real, for their
spike.
population size, they're really dealing with it right in a big way right now.
So, and this is starting to spread across the world, this humanity, which is good.
Yeah.
But a while ago, they had people playing different instruments from their balconies in their neighboring apartments, and it was lovely. Someone recorded it, and there's like a music composer or conductor.
I could tell because you were waving your hand around, like you were conducting.
I was conducting. I'm conducting the podcast. And the people different instruments, and it was funny because he'd be like, no, you need to have a C sharp, not a B flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
And it was almost like a class, almost coming together, and they were playing such lovely music. We saw a fitness instructor. I forget which country that was from.
Zumba. That was in the States. That was in Utah. And this one I thought was what a fun way to deal with it, because we're fortunate that we live on a little bit of land, so we have our own space, and you just came back from a walk, right?
Yes.
But for people who live in a subdivision or in a smaller space, it must feel overwhelming to be either trapped in your house or you've
yeah.
only got, so many feet in your backyard. These people were all in their backyards. And the one neighbor was kind of out. It worked out well. I mean, if it wasn't by design, that her patio kind of went out that all the other neighbors could kind of see her. And she was like the little leader, the instructor for everybody. She's bouncing and got her knees going, got her hands going. And the person filming, exactly what you said, kind of scanned around the neighborhood. And there were people like 4 and 5 houses down with kids outside in the backyard. Yeah. Doing Zumba, and I can guarantee you these are people that have probably never taken a class in their life before.
And that just shows you, everyone always talks about, I wish instead of being at work, I wish I could be at home watching Netflix, and now everyone's at home watching Netflix, and they're like, I wish I could be doing something else.
Yeah.
Screw it, I'll do Zumba.
In the backyard
with neighbors looking at me.
But that's awesome, and I agree with you. That makes me feel good, and we've seen examples of people singing.
Yeah, performers.
Out in like just community singing on the balconies. Yeah. And I know there's an example out in Vancouver, BC, where communities are just trying to an area of Vancouver where they're just going out and just making noise, like they're just going out and yelling and like banging pots together. And at first you think, okay, that I don't know if I could handle, but they're doing it. I'm going to say 6:00. I don't know if it's 6:00, but they're doing it the same time every day. To thank the healthcare workers. So if you were a nurse or a doctor or something like that, you're taking your break at 6:00.
That's nice.
If you're in this one area, of Vancouver, you're going to hear this raucous explosion of sound coming at you, which is people trying to express their love and appreciation for the sacrifices these individuals are making. So stuff like that, it kind of catches you and you think, there's hope for us yet.
There's unity. I have faith in humanity.
Yes.
No, it was good. And one of the things where it kind of backfired, though, because I like Twitter. Twitter, as I said multiple times on the podcast, is my go-to social media.
Right.
And I go on Twitter today, and people are almost memeing something that these celebrities did. So there's a bunch of celebrities have gone and sang a portion of John Lennon,
Oh, yes.
Let It Be.
Or is it Imagine? Imagine, I think. Yes.
And they're all singing segments of the song Imagine. And it was very nice because, they all have lovely voices. Some of them were funny.
It's a timeless song.
It's a timeless song.
And it's the most covered. It's the most covered song in the history of music.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a nice sentiment. It's a nice thought that they did. But everyone on Twitter is like, a couple ones I remember off my top of my head is, thank goodness, a bunch of rich celebrities that don't have to worry about money or, losing their job, singing to all us poor folk who are stranded in our, like, 1-by-1 apartments.
Yes, our cubicles.
Yeah, and a couple of people saying, like, this isn't the way, like, it's nice and all, but it's not doing anything. They say, a lot. It's easy for people with no money to say donate and stuff, so I saw a couple of those. But I just thought it was funny how that kind of backfired on them, because you don't...
Yeah, and that's too bad, because I look at that as, you know what, they could just literally sit at home beside their infinity pools.
Yeah, and do nothing.
Now, there's a certain part of that that's self-marketing. They need to keep relevant for when things go back to normal. But
and say, I did that during this.
Yeah, but I do think, and since we've done this podcast, we can appreciate that there's a bit of effort that goes into putting something out there of any quality. And that the effort it would have taken to coordinate all those people, not that they filmed it in sequence, I'm not trying to suggest that, but the effort that would have been put forth
to send all that out.
To put those files together, to edit it, to produce it, to put it out in the world. And to have that kind of negativity when there's already so much negativity. And I guess that's kind of where, going full circle with this conversation, it's very easy to spit on something like that. See, I thought you were going to talk about on Twitter recently was the whole Kanye. Oh,
I'm not bringing that up. That's
Kanye
ridiculous.
And Taylor. We're not going to get into it, but if you wanna go online and look up Taylor Swift and Kanye West, there's a whole new chapter to the saga.
It's not new. The video's been out.
And we're going to talk about it on a subsequent day when we're open to having a conversation that has some elements
this
of
is
negativity.
This is supposed to be a positive,
Exactly.
and I'm going to get negative.
Oh, he's getting cranky
I
over
am.
there.
Anyway. This has been a video that has been out for a while.
And
it's
no,
been
we're not
out
talking
since
about it.
2013.
We're not talking about it.
And guess what?
We're not talking about it.
The only thing I see wrong with that is when...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Corbin going on a rant. We're just going to let him have his moment here.
You know what? I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
Happy thoughts.
Happy thoughts. Here we go. So...
Connie doesn't have coronavirus. Okay. Oh, we're good. Okay.
So back on the positivity. So yes, I agree with you. There's sometimes, you put a good intention out there and
I can
goes
see it
off
from
the
both
tracks.
sides.
Yeah.
I can see it from both sides where they're doing this thing where
it rings a little hollow.
It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like
we're connected.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like like all their backgrounds are lovely, like
picturesque
screensaver photos in the back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wish.
Okay, flipping that around, and this was not on my list. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. Rihanna donated $5 million to coronavirus supports.
Really?
Yeah, that was on yesterday too. And when we say yesterday, this is Sunday when we
yes.
tape this.
So this is what I'm saying. They could have done that, or they could. You know what I thought it was?
What?
I thought they had made it an official song that was on Spotify or something like that.
Like a We Are the World situation.
Exactly,
Okay.
and then they would send all the profits to the. That's what I thought, and they're like, no, we just put it online. It's like,
Well, that sounds like self-marketing then.
Yeah, which is sad. So what's next on your list? Because that's the most coronavirus themed, and I didn't want to.
Well, and I think to just to
Piggyback.
wrap up this part of it is, there are some amazing free concerts that are being put out there, and I know
There's a country singer that you've been talking about.
Well, I was just going to say, again, this is Sunday, so by the time you get this, it's going to be Tuesday afternoon, evening, and you will have missed Garth Brooks on Facebook, but if you have a chance, if they save it, go back and look at it if you're on Facebook.
Everything's on the internet forever.
Yeah, so what it comes down to is there's a lot, and that's just one. I know Keith Urban has done it, John Legend has done it, I'm blanking, but those are just off the top of my head. There's people that are doing performances online. Oh, the Arkells. Let's hear it for Canada.
Yeah.
The Arkells are doing, and this is cute, they're actually doing music lessons. If you want to learn how to play guitar, they've got actually...
The only problem is that you need to get a guitar.
Well, yes. If you have a guitar and you haven't practiced, then you could be learning with the Arkells. Yeah. But I love that part of it, that idea of connecting in a different way. And some of these artists are flat out saying, it's like, you know what, I'm, as much as you think I'm doing this for you, I'm also kind of doing it for me. Oh, hello, Canadian content, Richard Burton. Richard? No, not Richard. Oh, that's going to bug me. Oh, I can see his name. Oh my God, I'm going to look it up in a minute.
No.
I'm saying Richard Burton, but it's not Richard Burton. Anyway. From the Guess Who.
From the Guess Who?
Oh, come on. American Woman?
I don't know
what
you're
now we're
talking
just
about.
stopping. Hang on, we're just stopping here. Give me 2 seconds here, people.
Oh my
Because I
goodness.
have to look this up. That's going to just blow my mind when I hear this. I might yell. Yeah, don't even start me. Burton Cummings.
Yay.
There was a Burton in there. It was the Richard that threw me off. And everybody at home's yelling, Burton Cummings, Sarah. I apologize. Yeah, so Burton Cummings, who actually was touring,
had to cancel, obviously.
So he ended up doing, a little bit of a performance there. I know Richard Marx. You probably don't know who he is either, but anyway.
You're throwing names.
80s balladeer. I'm showing my age. But anyway, he was doing for a little bit on Instagram where you could, I think Instagram and Twitter, where you could actually request, and one guy actually said, can you sing The Wheels of the Bus? And he actually sang it. Which is funny because
he's one of those classic guys.
He's not a kid. He's not Raffi, okay?
No.
It's not Sharon Lois and Bram.
But piggybacking off that, I follow a lot of fitness and social media influencers, and they are doing how to at home workouts and stuff
Free
like that.
stuff.
All of that on Instagram Live or Facebook Live, and I was telling Mom, there are sports commentators / journalists who are online on Instagram Live and stuff like that, and they're still talking about stuff.
Promoting stuff.
Yeah. They don't have to. Obviously, can't talk about last night's game. They're talking about stuff that maybe they want to talk about. They're still
maybe
giving content.
more timeless type themes.
Yeah, be more personable with it.
Did I share with you the guy online who is like I think he calls rugby matches, or not rugby, football, soccer, British soccer, British football rather, in the States. He's a sports, or in England rather. He's a sportscaster in England, and of course, there's nothing for him.
Yes.
Did I send this to you?
Yeah, where he does everyday life.
Everyday life. So he's talking about people shopping at the market, and he does it with this intense voice, like it's, and then coming in on the left, flanking her, grabbing the potatoes. It's hilarious. So
and the accent helps as well.
Oh yeah, and just the tone. And I know that there's a Vancouver. Was it Edmonton Oilers or Vancouver Canucks? One of their main commentators is actually doing a thing where you can call in or contact them through social media, and they will do one a day where this guy announces your name. So he would say, Corbin, the goal scored in such and such time by Corbin, number 4 with assist from, and then name your friends.
Yeah.
You submit all that information ahead of time. I thought that was so awesome, and it kind of ties it way back once upon a time when we did our social media podcast.
The positivity.
The capability for positivity with this new, relatively new mode of communication. So I love it.
And that's what we were talking about. This virus is something we have never seen before in either of our lifetimes to this magnitude.
Yep.
And thankfully, this is the first time we have social media, so people can still video chat. They can still call. They can still text. They can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that's one of the things that I have on my list is the fact that for people, and we've got a couple of them in our lives, older people who are now going to be kind of shut in and won't have the mobility that they used to have, missing because they're so used to ongoing contact or being able to have that mobility. This is going to be a real struggle for them. So being able to just sort of reach out and being able to see another face.
Yes.
I spoke to a friend yesterday who, as soon as I FaceTimed her, got really emotional. And I was so glad that it meant that much to her. But it also kind of made me sad because obviously she needs more of that. So I've made a promise that I'll check in with her every now and then and make sure she's okay. And hopefully other people do that too.
And that's something that the listeners could do as well. That they can, if you have the means to listen to this podcast right now, you easily have the means to
reach out,
download Instagram or Facebook and reach out. And face-to-face communication does mean a lot.
Yes.
As you just said, it is very emotional for some people who right now can't get that. But before we get too serious or mushy-gushy, what do you have on your list that maybe is a little more personal for us? Because we've had some crazy stuff happen.
We've had crazy stuff.
And we're going to tell you the crazy stuff.
Okay, so your older brother, who we cannot name.
No. He who will not be named. Voldemort?
That's right. He's like Prince. He's now a symbol.
Yeah. No, he has a nose. My brother has a nose. So, not Voldemort.
Anyway, anyone who knows your brother knows that he wants to be a farmer. This is his grand plan. The big picture is to be a farmer.
If he had a vision board, it would just be a farm.
That's right. It's just one big farm. But actually, it would probably have cows on it, too. And we were able to meet, not long after our last week's recording of the podcast, his new calves. And he bought a cow with 2 calves.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's named the mother, but he's named the calves Bonnie and Clyde, which
one
is...
One boy, one girl.
One boy, one girl. Too cute. And it was so fun. You really got into that.
No, I'm not usually a farmer type. And people who know me know that I'm not, even an outdoor type. I'm more of like a tech guy or stuff like that interests me. So when all the farm stuff, not really my thing. But I saw the calves before you guys did.
I know. Everybody saw the calves before we did.
I got a special invite and you didn't get one.
I know where I rank.
But then I went back with you guys when you guys first saw them, and they were I was the cow whisperer that night.
It was remarkable.
You have photos of me.
Yes, maybe we'll have to post those on our Facebook to show that.
To prove to the fans.
Yes,
that
listeners. It happened. And, you looked very at ease as you were hinged at the waist, bending over to reach out to
Can't fully squat. But, no, I'd walk up to them slowly, reach my hand out, and I'd say, I'm not going to hurt you. And then softly put my hand on their head and then scratch them, and they'd like it. And then Dad who was with us, who is one of the most farmy guys I know, he just walked right, walked past and scared the cows a couple times. Not on purpose.
Well, he was doing other things, but
yeah,
it wrecked your moment,
and
is
there was,
what you're trying to say.
Exactly, and there's a couple times where he tried to do what I did. He didn't have the magic touch. But I have a special connection with these cows, I think. The calves.
Yeah, you can have a real special connection when you're eating one of them.
Yeah. Don't say that. They're dairy cows. They're dairy cows.
They're not dairy cows.
No, they are dairy cows.
No, they're not.
They're going to live forever.
No, they're not.
They're going to jump up over the moon.
That's when it was first posted that he had these calves, and someone asked, "Oh, what are their names?" And I said, "Apparently you don't name dinner."
But you had an article the other week that said if you name your cows, they either live.
For dairy cows, they produce more milk, and for beef cows, they gain more. For beef cows, it's more important to gain weight.
Not scientifically proven, but
no, but it sounded like it makes sense. Same as talking to your plants or your kids.
Exactly. Right? I will grow nice and big.
That's right. So that was kind of a personal success that everyone at our house was really excited about, and I shared that with people in my world on social media who were very happy, and it was nice to see people excited for your brother and share
a lot of people because everyone knows this is what he wants.
Yeah, and to be clear, he doesn't have a farm.
No,
he's keeping the cattle with a friend who he has an arrangement with who has a couple of cows of his own. And this is basically the first step in a whole line of a marathon of steps before he gets his own farm. And we're just so excited and couldn't be happier for him. So that's good news.
It's moving forward. And also, with everything that's going on right now with the virus, I'm glad we were able to do that last week.
Yeah,
because
you don't know what can change.
Well, yeah. And the way it looks, it's only we're gonna be more and more scaled back from the outside
He'll
world.
be able to go because he has a responsibility to care for the animals. But as far as the rest of us just traipsing around to see them, it may not be a good idea.
No. So that was a big moment last week, and we wanted to share that with everyone.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah.
Another thing which kind of ties into the current climate is I'm now working from home.
Yes.
Which wasn't for sure last week. I think we may have talked about it, but I don't know if it was for sure last week.
I think it was mentioned, but it was one of those things where we'll play it. Yeah. We'll play it day by day.
And after working from home, Monday I wasn't working from home all day. So Tuesday was my first day.
The power went out.
Tuesday the power goes out, so I'm literally sitting here, praying for the power to come back on. But I've done this before and I've mentioned before when I had a change in my employment where I was freelancing and I worked from home. I don't mind working from home. For me, this is definitely a plus, a positive. I enjoy it. I'm self-disciplined. I'm tracking what I'm doing. I'm recording it for my employer. So
Very
for
responsible.
Me, well, I respect the opportunity because not everyone is able to work from home,
and people can easily take advantage of it and ruin it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want that.
No,
I actually, if I could, if there was a way for this to be an ongoing situation, which is another outcome of all of this, when you think about how many people are now working from home or have made arrangements made for them by their employer to remote work, I think this is going to be a dramatic shift in the workplace, for better or worse. I can see where some places, we talked about your job and you for your new job.
I haven't gotten fired yet.
It's 2 weeks in. I hope not. But, for your type of work, you need to be more engaged with the public, and it's better for you to be, although in the current climate, you're not engaging with the public, it's a modified work situation. But like for me, I can do it, still be social, still be, online stuff, and still be reporting back in. So I'm excited about that. I've also been really touched by a number of acts of kindness when you see people that are checking in with neighbors and friends and family and making that extra effort. People that are, you see someone who's upset because maybe they're short on a supply, like maybe it's someone who's, got a young child and doesn't have diapers or needs wet wipes or whatever. Yeah. And you'll see someone come back on social media and say, you know what, I think I've got some I can give you. Seeing that kind of interaction makes me feel good because it balances out some of the negativity of people who are taking more than they need. And hopefully as the weeks go on, people will see that kind of acquiring of materials and supplies isn't necessary. We don't have to be doing that. I also want to give a really big shout out to everybody who is working at a grocery store right now.
Yes.
Those people are not grocery stores and essential retail, and that would be like pharmacies, that type of thing.
Because I have a lot of friends from my previous workplace, which was a grocery store in town, that are still working there, and they're putting in hours, they're putting in effort, and they're putting their health at risk to make sure that things stay open and things are going smoothly. And I'm at a crosshairs between should it be closed for their health, but also what's going to happen with the food. So, and
it's a conundrum.
It is a conundrum. It's something, as we said, hasn't happened in a long, long time to this magnitude. So,
well, and even the idea going back to when we were saying about celebrities and athletes and that type of thing, we kind
first ones to go.
We had a chuckle about that earlier. Is that the first people who were tapped out in this situation were our athletes, and right around the same time were celebrities, performers, actors. And that's by virtue of the work they do, because they are in public forums. But we also have people at the other end of the pay scale who are in public forums who don't have the choice or feel they don't have the choice. Yeah. And then, talking about your healthcare professionals, your police, ambulance, fire, all those people. So it's interesting when you talk about what essential services are, what those people are getting paid in relation to the celebrities and the athletes and that type of thing.
In a perfect world, that, like how you said, things might change for the stay-at-home work. In a perfect world, things would change, maybe for those people, after all,
for the frontline people.
After everything is said and done. But I wouldn't hold my breath on that. But,
well, and in a humorous note, I know there's a lot of parents right now that have more appreciation for teachers.
Yes.
Having dealt with their kids for a full week.
Or
childcare.
Childcare, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
What else do we got?
Well, again, the flip the script thing. So we're presented with a lot of negativity. There's a lot of heaviness that's going on there. So, for example, for us, yesterday we had 3 people in the house, 3 people that are used to going in 3 different directions, that are used to having their own schedules and agendas, and this has already started to impact us as far as our day-to-day. So instead of sitting here being frustrated with each other, we decided to take on a project. And again, this project, you've already said that, you're not a huge fan of this type of work. But when I said to you, let's go out and do this, you were game enough to do it. And I credit you with that. I think this is an opportunity to really tackle things that you don't think you want to tackle, or stuff that you're not, you've put off for a while. So we cut down a tree yesterday.
Yes.
And it wasn't a little tree.
It was dead, by the way, to all the people who would say,
we're not just cutting down trees.
Cut down a tree for fun.
No. This tree was actually causing damage to other trees, and it was a problem as far as where it was near our driveway. So no, it had to come down. But that was an example of, it was good physical activity.
It was. We got our steps in.
All of our steps in.
Easily got 10,000.
And it was a beautiful day. It was a little cool, but it was a sunny day.
And we were moving as well.
And I think that really helps your mental health. Doing the exercise, which is a whole separate topic, which we've already covered, as far as, your mental health and managing stresses and depression and things like that. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, now's the time to get on a bike, go for a walk, go for a hike. Of course, distancing is assumed in these situations. Another thing that I've personally been thinking about is, you can sit here and say, okay, I've got all this time on my hands. There's only so much laundry I can do. I'm tired of my same old routine. I either go downstairs or upstairs. That's all I'm doing.
How did you know what I was thinking about when I was sitting at home all this time?
Exactly. Yeah, Corbin goes from self-imposed quarantine to almost literal quarantine here. But no, it's tough, right? This. So for me, I'm talking about things like, picking up on stuff that I've set aside, whether it's being creative with writing or creative with drawing.
For sure.
Maybe
writing.
Writing and drawing. Even things like, maybe it's time to try a new skill or talent. There's a ton of online opportunities. Yes. And again, I know we keep talking about social media, and I apologize if social media is an issue or internet access is an issue for you. If there's a way for you to get it more consistently, it will definitely be a help to you. But, looking at a number of websites that have offered either low cost or no cost options for you.
For learning new skills or things like that.
Yeah. And there's, if you don't have access to streaming platforms, I know CBC and the National Film Board of Canada have got a number of films and documentaries and things like that they are offering for free.
Yeah.
It's a great time to learn about a number of topics, not the least of which is Indigenous issues and things like that.
That's something that everyone listening to the podcast should go
take some time for that. Yeah. So again, it's easy to be overcome by the heaviness and the negative. I would suggest for 3 quick tips of how to get through this, I mean, and we're only through week 1, is first of all, exercise.
Yes.
Get out of your space, get out of your head, and blow out the cobwebs.
Go for a walk or just do stuff in your own house.
Yeah.
You know, it's all you need, just an hour.
Yeah.
Half an hour even, you know?
Yeah.
Just take that time.
The second would be challenge yourself. Doesn't have to be, I wouldn't make it something overwhelming. Make it something that is doable, whether it's, you know what, I'm going to finally tackle cleaning my closet, or I'm going to, you know, sort what's underneath my bed, or what, something
clean out the garage.
Yeah, stuff like that. And especially this time of year, it's a good time for that anyway.
For sure.
And thirdly would be limit how much time you are exposing yourself to this information, whether it's television, radio, or social media, because it's heavy, it's a lot.
You need an escape, whether that be through, you know, drawing, writing, as we said, movies, video games. You just
listening to the previous 19 episodes of our podcast.
Exactly. Have we mentioned that we have 19 other episodes that you guys can listen to right now?
Well, and that's the thing too, is that we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, because this could take a while.
Yes.
And we're hearing that now. No one wanted to kind of say the M word in relation to the word months.
Yeah.
But that's what we could be looking at. For this to be successful, it should take months, because that again lowers the number
than years.
Well, and it's also, it reduces the stress on our medical system. So if we can, you know, spread it out a little longer and make sure we all get through this, it's better. So yeah, I would, you know, take the opportunity to give yourself breaks and do something different and connect with people as much as you can. And we'll get through this. Like it's week 1. But I think it's something that if we're all really coming from the right place, we can do it.
Of course, and we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
People, this is something that should be taken seriously, and if you haven't already, I think this is a good wake-up call for, you know, what's happening. If you're watching the Canadian news, you know, federally or provincially, I think it's a good wake-up call for people to really say, I should take this seriously now. This is, you know, March break is, if you celebrated March break, you know, that was all good. Time to take a break. So,
and if you're coming back from March break, please remember that
14 days.
Yes, you don't get to run errands. You need to go straight home. We've got a whole week ahead of you where we've all been trying to behave and adhere to the recommendations,
the rules, the systems in place.
Yeah, and if people don't listen to those recommendations, then things are going to be mandated, and we don't want to go down that road. So everyone just do their own part, which is to take care of yourselves and at home for 14 days. Reach out to friends, family. I'm sure someone will help you out. There's a lot of businesses that have
neighbors,
delivery, takeout service that you can have some kind of arrangement where they can drop it to your home without having contact with you. And we'd really like to have some feedback from you guys. Let us know how you're coping.
Yeah, and give us, if you're sitting at home saying, I want them to talk about ballet because you're at home and you have nothing to listen to, send us a recommendation.
Oh, that would be fun.
Especially during these times. Just send us a recommendation for anything you want us to talk about. We'll research it, we'll watch it, we'll listen to it, whatever.
Yeah.
And we will do a podcast on it.
I like that.
During this time when people maybe don't have too much to do. So for sure, where can they contact us?
Well, you can email us at chatspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to post on our Facebook page, you're welcome to do that as well as our YouTube channel. And where else can they find us?
Well, as you said, YouTube. We have Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, as I said, YouTube. All of those, you can follow us, you can like, and you can give feedback on, but whether it be rating or actual feedback. We love either. But so this has been episode 20, where hopefully we've lifted your spirits a little bit.
Give you a laugh.
Of course. And you guys can always look forward to our next podcast next Tuesday. As usual, Tuesdays are the days we upload. So thank you guys for listening so much. This has been me, Corbin.
And Sarah.
And thank you guys for listening, and be sure to stay tuned for our next chats.